LARP or not to LARP? That is the age-old question. Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Vinny, and thankfully, I am slightly less congested today, which means I can finally talk to you guys a bit clearer. Today, I just wanted to talk about LARPing, and not the whole techno LARP thing, because I'm pretty sure that conversation has been run into the ground. I'm talking about the way people have been using the word around me colloquially. Technically, LARP stands for live action roleplay, but the way that I hear people use it, especially people in their 20s and their late teens, it basically means you're pretending to be a certain type of person. You basically do something that doesn't seem natural to you, usually because if it's a certain aesthetic or because you want other people to see you doing it. In other words, you're pretty much just being performative. I would say that matcha is the funniest example of this and probably the most overplayed, right? Nearly every guy I've spoken to tells me I would say that matcha has to be the funniest and also most overplayed example of this. Nearly every guy I've spoken to claims to hate matcha, yet every once in a while I'll hear one of them say, "Yo, bro, let's go grab a matcha." And they'll say it usually when it's in front of the ladies. And it's bro, I know exactly what you're trying to do. Question is, right? Are they getting the matcha because they genuinely want matcha? Or are they getting it because of the audience around them? Or maybe they want to post a cup on Instagram and appear mysterious? I don't know. Either way, somebody might accuse them of LARPing, of performing an identity that really isn't theirs. And I'm here to tell you, unpopular opinion, but go ahead and LARP. Yes, I know. This is an unpopular opinion, right? There are obviously negative versions and side effects to being performative, especially when everything you do is a calculated sort of psyop to receive validation from other people. But I think there is another side to this coin that we are not seeing, right? Sometimes what LARPing really looks like is just an exploration of somebody. I started thinking about this when somebody accused me of being a LARPer, and I took that so personally, right? Yo, bro, it's me, Vinny. Bro, I'm the original. How could I ever be a LARPer? You know what I'm saying? Absolutely not. Well, well, actually, okay. Here's my personal little tidbit here. I don't personally like matcha. I've tried it a couple of times, and I may have posted about trying it, and I may have done a couple of other things that people would see as performative. I've posted a couple of Strava runs on my Instagram and all those things considered. So I can see on the outside how that looks performative, but I don't think I'm necessarily doing it for other people. It's weird, but it's if anything, I'm performing for myself. I know that sounds strange, but you got to hear me out, okay? If LARPing means temporarily trying on a different version of yourself, then I think that can be useful, right? Sometimes you have to behave like a certain type of person before you can discover whether you actually enjoy being that type of person. And I know personally that I oh my God, I never would have known that I disliked matcha if I didn't try it, right? I've tried a ton of matcha in my area. I don't know how this boiled down to matcha, but it is what it is. I've tried a ton of matcha in my area, right? And I kept giving it another chance and another chance and another chance. And at every single point in time where I tried matcha, I've always came to the same conclusion that it was just dog water. It was just absolute dog. It's if somebody took lawnmower clippings and they're yo, bro, let's turn this into a drink. Let's turn this lawnmower clipping into a drink. And let's mask the fact that we took lawnmower clippings into a drink by pouring in copious amounts of sugar into it. That's pretty much my matcha experience every single time. So it's just not for me. But now I know that because I tried it. Not because I automatically decided that matcha wasn't part of my identity, right? The same thing happened to me with running, right? I'm not the greatest runner. On a good day, I run a 10-minute mile, but I'm not breaking any records. Nobody from the Olympics is nervously checking my Strava profile, checking to see when I run. But I do enjoy running, right? And I never would have discovered that if I never acted like somebody who liked to run or somebody who, casually posts their Strava runs on Instagram, And I may have bought some like running clothes and, downloaded Strava and posted a couple runs on my social medias. So I can see how that looks performative. But eventually that performance helped me discover something that was real and deep within me. And it was, I just enjoy running. And I think the same applies to a lot of the hobbies that I picked up. Sometimes you have to enter an unfamiliar space and risk looking like you don't belong there. You have to imitate the people who already know what they're kind of doing. You have to kind of feel a little awkward. That's kind of how it works in a way. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're fake. It might just mean that you're just trying something new. And I think some of the people we label as LARPers are really just people who dare to live. They put themselves in unfamiliar situations. They allow themselves to feel uncomfortable. They try new identities. They put on new faces and they experience things that they may never have experienced otherwise. And I think that's really cool and really beautiful. Other people will always try to place you in some type of box. Your friends might think they know you, but maybe they don't. Or maybe your family has a certain image of you. Maybe even your partner has an image of you that isn't what you would want to be perceived as. Nobody can fully tell who you are. And honestly, you may not completely know who you are either. The only way to figure that out, at least the only way I feel like I can figure that out for myself, is to test my own assumptions. Within academia, one of the easiest ways to prove something to be false is a basic proof by contradiction, or more accurately, searching for some form of counterexample. You might carry around an assumption such as, I'm not athletic, I'm not artistic, or I'm not somebody who dances, or I would never enjoy a Ren fair, or I don't like running, I don't like matcha. And then you try the thing, right? And you might enjoy it. You might hate it. You might love it. But that single experience becomes your counterexample. It challenges the story you've been telling yourself. And suddenly, this identity you thought was fixed has to become just a little bit more flexible. And even if you try something and hate it, like matcha, you still learn something. And I would say matcha taught me that, strangely enough. So you might look performative for a while. Somebody might call you a LARPer. But I don't think that the fear of being judged should prevent you from exploring who you could become. I would say do the thing before it feels natural. Go to a run club, even if you don't consider yourself a runner. Go to a Renaissance fair, even if you have absolutely no idea what you're supposed to wear. Try the hobby, join the group, post a Strava run, go try yet another. Actually, no, do not try that matcha. Please do not try that matcha, y'all. Unless if y'all could help me with this whole matcha thing, because maybe I'm just a little biased, but I don't know. The point is, allow yourself to experiment. You don't have to know whether something is really for you before trying it. Trying it is simply how you figure that out for yourself. So maybe, yeah, you will be perceived as performative. Or maybe you're just rehearsing a version of yourself that you just haven't met yet. So to answer that question, to LARP or not to LARP, I say LARP, you know? I say LARP. All right, y'all. That's all I have to say. I'm still trying to figure out a way to end these types of videos, but we're gonna do Vinny out for this one. Vinny out.